How's it going, everyone? In this video, it's going to be the first look at Diamond Dynasty player attributes. So let's go ahead and get right into this. The very first thing I'm going to talk about is one of the diamonds they went ahead and revealed for the special edition diamonds. It's also included in the pre-order. If you pre-order the MVP edition, the digital deluxe edition, editions like that, you will be able to redeem this free diamond. They will probably reveal the other two leading up within the next few live streams and things like that. I think that this is going to be an awesome addition to the squad right away. A David Ortiz card out the gate day one is going to be amazing. So let's go ahead and get right into some of these screenshots where we reveal the top 5 players at each position. I'm going to be focusing on them in order, starting from lowest level diamond or gold up until the highest rated card, which still might be a gold. There is one position where we're looking at all 5 gold players are the best at that position. But to start with, we have Chris Sale as a starter. He has had a dominant last couple of years in terms of strikeouts, so that's why he has a higher K per 9. I think that this card's going to be really good. He has the slider, he has a changeup, I believe, as well as a two-seam. So the pitch repertoire is depicted up there at the top right. However, it is a little bit blurry for me at this moment. So I'm working on just creating this video in live time and one take and uploading it just like that. So Chris Sale is the number 5 starter. We're looking at number 4, Justin Verlander, 90 overall. So we're already in the 90s, which is good. We need some better starting pitching in the game. Day 1 live series cards that are effective are going to be nice to have on your squad if you're able to unlock them. Verlander coming in at number 4 for starting pitchers, one of my favorite pitchers of all time. We're also looking at Garrett Cole, who is a Yankees recent addition. This card's going to be very good. I have a difficult time hitting him in MLB The Show 19. I can only imagine facing this card, with silvers and golds once the game initially comes out on March 17th. Let's continue on. We have a lot of screenshots to cover. The 4th pitcher, or I guess the 4th best pitcher on this list, is Max Scherzer, which leads me to believe that, he could be very well tied with the number 1 ranked pitcher on this list. But Max Scherzer has had a dominant career ever since he kind of broke out as a Tigers player. He moved on to the Nationals. He's done extremely well, a World Series champion now, which I like to see. Let's go ahead and take a look at who is number 1 in terms of live series starting pitching. It's going to be Jacob deGrom, well-deserved. This card is going to be lethal with that high-velocity slider. This card is honestly really good. I'm not sure if home runs per 9 is going to affect online mode, but for most of these live series pitchers, they are going to be extremely effective alongside the live series quirks that go along with them. Some of these players will perform better in the daytime. Some of them will perform better at night. Let's continue on with some of the first baseman, actually closing pitchers to first before we get into position players. Anyway, Liam Hendriks is going to be the lowest rated closing pitcher that's on this list. Coming in at the number 5 spot for the top 5 closing pitchers in the game. Liam Hendriks only has 3 pitches. We saw in this year's game for his finest card, he had a series of 5 pitches. So he might not be as dominant, but still very good stats, very good per 9s. He's going to shrink that PCI. This next one is Ken Giles. I also put him in that same category. Really only has 2 pitches in this situation. A fastball, 2 different fastballs, of course. Same velocity. The two seams probably going to move a little bit, but a fastball and a slider. Not really the pitcher that I'm looking to use, although his slider is his primary pitch, so that will be a little bit more effective, as we saw in MLB The Show 19. Definitely some solid stats, not the pitcher that I'm looking to use. Anyway, I'm looking to maybe go alongside Aroldis Chapman, some of these higher ranked closing pitchers. But for the most part, we're going to stick with legends for this position. I mean, the dominant closing pitchers in the game have usually been legends, a few live series players here and there, or some flashback versions of those live series players, like finest cards or, signature series, live series players, things like that. We'll see a better relievers later on in the year. Anyway, and the next one is Kirby Yates. This card might be a little bit more effective, as well as Chapman, even though they all have 3 pitches. This repertoire is a little bit better. He has a splitter, he has a slider, as well as that 4-seam fastball in the 90s. So that's effective. I saw that Aroldis Chapman also has a sinker. That's a pitch he hasn't thrown in MLB The Show at all. So that's something to keep in mind as well. He might be more dominant. The best closing pitcher in the game at launch in terms of live series players is going to be Josh Hader. He comes in with the highest hits and Ks per nine, I believe, out of any pitcher on this list, including starters, things like that. So this is something to keep in mind. This card is going to be very effective, depending on if home runs per nine is a big factor when the game first comes out. Let's continue on. Let's get into some position players. We'll start with catching. Mitch Garver, probably one of the better offensive hitting catchers, has common fielding, but definitely a solid option here, especially on all-star difficulty when that vision attribute does not matter as much. The next catcher is Gary Sanchez. This is a position where I wasn't sure if they were going to reveal any diamonds for this position. Gary Sanchez was kind of on the cusp, in my opinion, a couple years ago. I'm not quite sure how close he was to going diamond. Seems like when they have kind of changed the tiers a little bit over the last few years, we're still looking at, 80 to 84 is a gold, and 85 and above is going to be a diamond. But anyway, we will have Gary Sanchez with a lot of power, very good hitter. He always has a great swing in the game and usually excels at hitting fastballs in previous years. So that's something to keep in mind as well. The third-ranked catcher coming in is Wilson Contreras. This is a card I actually had on Diamond Watch last year, and he didn't quite get there, but I definitely think that this guy has a lot of potential. He's still young, 27 years old. Wilson Contreras definitely has some talent, and he has the breaking ball quirk, or at least has had that pitch quirk in the past. So that's something to keep in mind as well. The fourth ranked, the second best catcher on this list, Yasmani Grandal. This card is a switch hitter. He doesn't really have the greatest hitting stats, but they are going to be extremely valuable when the game first comes out. We won't normally see Yasmani Grandal too often as, legend catchers are released. If there's a collection reward, people might tend to use those guys, things like that. Depending on team affinities and whatnot, we might see a variety of players at different positions. But catcher is pretty good in this regard. Let's continue with the list. JT Realmuto, probably the best defensive catcher on this list in terms of all-around fielding. He does have a diamond badge. However, I believe in game, since his fielding is at, 76, 78, in that range, he will have, silver fielding in terms of his badge. But he has great blocking. His arm strength is great, and he will be very valuable behind the plate and probably pretty expensive when the game first comes out. Anyway, first base, Anthony Rizzo, who was previously a diamond in a couple years ago. He was one of the higher ranked first basemen. Now he's lower on this list, but still very good. This card always has a nice swing. He's always played really well in the game, and he also, has a chance to get back to that diamond club, things that they're talking about in the stream, players to watch for that could end up going diamond. I would say Anthony Rizzo is one of those guys. He's a pretty solid player. And I still think that he's got a few good years left in the tank. Anyway, Matt Olson is another one I would look for to get upgraded throughout the year. I'd like to see his vision go up a little bit, but this card is still a really solid first baseman. Let's continue with the list a little bit further, a little bit quicker, just to catch up with all the screenshots. Paul Goldschmidt is the third highest ranked first baseman on this list. Also very easily could go diamond. I think that this card might have the best chance out of the three so far, but I think that first base has, some different ratings in terms of how these players project their overall. So power and things like that are more involved with first baseman. Fielding it not so much, and things like that may affect their ability to go diamond, just to include that as well. Pete Alonso, though, is going to be a diamond. This card is going to be absolutely amazing. A live series card with 100 power on both sides. Absolutely incredible. Let's move forward to, the last first baseman, Freddie Freeman. How could I forget about Freddie Freeman? This card hits a home run against me every single time. He probably will have the fastball quirk as well, called Dead Red. That will certainly help his attributes that are already pretty good. He hits lefties fairly well. He's got a decent size PCI with his vision attribute, and also just an all-around good player, coming in as the best first baseman for live series players. Now we move towards second base, Gleyber Torres. They mentioned, they of course know that he plays a variety of positions. As you can see, his secondary positions are third base and shortstop. Depending on where the Yankees will play Gleyber for the most part of the season, they might go ahead and adjust his rating or his position, which may affect his rating. So that's something to keep in mind as well. We notice, not as many second basemen are diamonds, and also shortstops as well kind of have the same I guess, attribute engine where they create the overall and things like that. Middle infielders are generally similar in that regard. Speed is a big factor, fielding is a big factor, not as much as power as we would see with a third baseman, first baseman, things like that. So there are things to keep in mind. Let's keep this list moving. Jeff McNeil coming in as probably one of the better contact hitters, great utility player as well. Probably will have bronze fielding at the secondary positions, but he can provide that utility lefty bat for you, which is pretty good. This card is a budget beast in terms of BR, things like that. Let's keep it in mind, Ozzie Albies, switch hitter. He has a really solid stats against lefties. I have a feeling that this card will be a diamond by the end of 2020 season. I think his stats against righties will get boosted up just enough to make him an 85. I think that is a pretty solid bet. If I had to pick one card so far that I'm going to be trying to invest in or looking to invest in, is this Ozzie Albies. Let's continue on with DJ LeMahieu. This is another one who just needs a little bit of a boost versus righties. He had a breakout season, started to break out with the Rockies. Now he's really doing well with the Yankees, and it makes sense. I think that this card could get upgraded. He's a solid fielder, not the best arm strength, but in terms of everything else, he's really good out there. Jose Altuve is coming in as the best second baseman for live series players at an 85. This could change throughout the year. This is a pretty solid card, though. I mean, I have lost respect for Jose Altuve with all these, cheating allegations and things like that. I have lost respect. This guy used to be, one of my favorite players simply because of his height, the way he plays the game. Now that has kind of changed and has also altered my opinion on him as a player. Anyway, third baseman, we'll talk about Jose Ramirez. This card was always on my list for players to look out for to go diamond. Now he is a diamond, and I'm actually thinking that he has a chance to go gold this year, depending on how he does. I think he was kind of on the cusp last year, and third base is pretty stacked. We see all 5 players on this list are going to be diamond, so we might have, some changes with some of these players throughout the year. Matt Chapman's coming in as the second highest, or the fourth highest ranked third baseman, and he's going to have maxed out fielding. This card is absolutely amazing. If you're able to hit with them, I mean, he's probably the best third baseman that you can go to in terms of all around. That 75, mid-70s power is going to be great. The vision isn't all the way up there. The contact's not all the way up there, but it's a pretty solid card all around with that amazing fielding. Will save you some runs on defense. Alex Bregman coming in as the third highest ranked third baseman. I think that this card is going to be really good. The finest card in MLB The Show 19 absolutely destroys me. I've also lost respect for Alex Bregman because of the cheating allegations and his responses on those allegations. Just things like that. I mean, I'll still, of course, include him in these videos, but I do like to throw that out there. I probably won't be using many Astros players personally on my team. Anthony Rendon is a solid player, all-around hitter, absolute beast. Look at those stats. 90s. I believe that's 90s as well for left-handed contact. He's got really solid power for both sides. 82 vision. That's going to be very helpful in terms of making solid contact consistently, as well as his defense is pretty good out there. He will make all the plays for you. Sure, he's going to, botch a few here and there, but that's going to happen to any fielder with bronze fielding or, silver fielding with that fielding rating. The best third baseman, of course, is Nolan Arenado, 91 overall, one of the few 90s players, 90 overall players we see. This card is going to be the best third baseman pretty much the entire year in terms of live series players. I'm not quite sure where Manny Machado is on this list. I'm not sure if they have him as a shortstop or as a third baseman. That will lead you to believe, he's not on this shortstop list either. So he might be starting off as a gold or a diamond 85, slightly lower than that third baseman that we saw first, Jose Ramirez. So things like that are important to keep in mind. These are only the top 5 players at each position. And Marcus Semien, third in the MVP voting. This card should be pretty good. Has a chance to break out even further than this upcoming season. Xander Bogaerts, another great card. He has that one-handed, right-handed swing. For me personally, I don't necessarily hit the best with those types of guys. I'll be looking to go in a different direction, but this card will be solid, and I'm sure against lefties, he'll be very effective. Trevor Story is the type of player that I'm looking to get right away. He's got great speed. He's got good power. Always has a really good swing, a short, compact, two-handed swing with a great load. I look for those types of things in Diamond Dynasty. The next one is the cover boy, Javi Baez. This card is going to be really good. He always has a nice swing as well, very similar to Trevor Story. And the highest ranked shortstop is going to be Francisco Lindor, as he deserves it. I mean, this card is going to be really good. The speed, though, is a little bit low on this card, at least for what I initially thought. I think that he's a little bit faster. We've seen him with some 70 speed. We've seen him with near the 80s in speed. Now he's dropped down quite a few attributes. So that's kind of interesting to see that, but all around switch hitter. He doesn't have diamond fielding either. He will have gold fielding in the field, and he's easily the best defensive shortstop alongside Javi Baez. Anyway, left field, we got Tommy Pham. This card, this guy was traded recently to the Padres, and I feel like he's going to be pretty good. Has that short, really short, compact swing, very similar to Roberto Alomar, if I'm not mistaken, and this card will get the job done for you. Joey Gallo, a BR glitch. This card is absolutely incredible. Don't let that 18 vision fool you. On All-Star, this card is absolutely amazing. They've increased his arm accuracy and arm strength, I believe. He's got pretty good fielding, diamond fielding all around, but he will have gold fielding in the outfield for his badge because of that 81 fielding attribute. Juan Soto is another one. I mean, honestly, one of the players I'm looking to pick up and use early on in the game cycle. I'm looking to pick this card up because I think he's going to go diamond, as well as I think he's going to be very effective in the game. He has a great swing, similar to guys like Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, things like that. I think that this card is going to be really good initially when the game first comes out. Giancarlo Stanton, someone who I'm surprised is not a diamond. He's been a diamond the last few years, but he has had some injuries and has not played as well over the last few years. They also meant, this is going off of a 3-year average. So if you're wondering why some of these players are rated the way they are, it's not just off of 1 year or the previous year. I should have probably said that initially at the beginning of the video, but I wanted to hop right into it as this will be a longer one. This left field position is the only position where we don't see a diamond in the top 5 players. Although JD Martinez is a diamond hitter, he won't be able to really make any plays for you out in the outfield, but this card is an amazing bench bat. He will have some great quirks and will get the job done for you at the dish. If you're able to hit a couple home runs with him, per game, a homer a game, this card is worth it out there in the outfield. Center field, we're looking at Starling Marte, a recent pickup by the Diamondbacks, and he's also going to be joined with Ketel Marte, I believe. In the outfield, Ketel Marte moves around a little bit as well. But Starling Marte coming in at the 5 spot for center fielders. Now we're looking at George Springer, a card I think has always been really good in MLB The Show. He has a really nice swing. With the most recent things happening with the Astros, I don't think I'm going to be using this card, but I might try him out just because he might be a cheaper option as from some of these other cards that we're looking at. You have to keep in mind with the market when the game first comes out, some of these cards might be pretty pricey. So might be going with some more golds and diamonds, things like that. We're going to have to keep that in mind. Here's Ketel Marte coming in at an 86, I believe. This card is really good. He plays a variety of positions, switch hitter with a great swing, similar to Tony Gwynn. Has that one-handed swing, but it's more of a compact swing than some other guys that we see. Anyway, I think this card is someone who I'm looking to get right away on my team. I think he will be quite expensive, though, when the game first comes out. Ronald Acuna, another one. If you can stack your outfield with a couple of these center fielders, you'll be in pretty good shape with speed, fielding, and power. This card is going to be great. He'll probably be, upgraded throughout the year if he continues what he's doing. But just to wrap up the center field position, of course, we have none other than Mike Trout. This card is above and beyond every other live series card that's been on this list so far. 95 overall, doesn't even compare to anyone else, really, in terms of live series cards. He has diamond hitting and fielding. He's going to have, 112 power against righties, which is incredible for a live series card. Probably the highest power Mike Trout has ever had. Plus, you have to factor in inside edge when the matchups are being played in real time. These players will get upgraded and downgraded for that specific day. Right field, we're coming in at Bryce Harper. I was kind of surprised to see Bryce Harper as a diamond. I thought he was on the cusp last year, even as a cover boy. I wasn't thinking he was going to go gold or get downgraded to a gold card. But I think in this year, he's pretty close this year. If he continues to play the way he's playing, he might get downgraded. Even though he's still very effective and very valuable to the Phillies, I'm not quite sure if he's at that diamond level or that diamond club. Anyway, I believe, he could easily win MVP as well. I'm thinking he has the skill set, he has the talent, just needs to put it all together for a full season like he did in, 2015? A couple, 5 years ago or something like that. He won MVP, but he does have more power against lefties, which I like to see because I like to hit lefty anyway. So that's something I noticed as well. Also a pretty good fielder, better than he was in last year's game. Aaron Judge is the second, I guess I should say the fourth highest ranked right fielder, and this card is going to be amazing. I think he will get an upgrade to his vision attribute throughout the season. If he cuts down more on his strikeouts, I think he will get that upgrade and be way more valuable, but he is starting at an 88 with incredible stats. I mean, if you give this card 50 vision, then he's probably a 90-91, I'm thinking. I don't know exactly how the algorithm works, but I'm thinking that this card will significantly get an upgrade if his vision attribute goes up. Anyway, Mookie Betts, the recent addition to the Dodgers, he's coming in as the third highest ranked right fielder. This card's going to be absolutely incredible with inside edge, with the quirks that he has. The thing to keep in mind about Mookie Betts is that he also plays second base. One of the few outfielders that plays an infield position, middle infield position, that is a very highly rated card. Christian Yelich, kind of interesting. He comes in with common fielding, but the hitting attributes are amazing. This card is going to be absolutely incredible. He always has a really nice swing, and he's someone that I think could also get upgraded if he continues to have MVP caliber seasons. Cody Bellinger is going to wrap this video up in terms of players and position players. Coming in as a 90 overall right fielder, incredible swing, the finest card for this, Cody Bellinger in MLB The Show 19 is probably, a top 3 card in the entire game for MLB The Show 19. I'm really excited to try and get my hands on this guy. I have a feeling he's going to be well over 100,000 stubs when the game first comes out. A similar price, to Mike Trout, things like that. This card's going to be very good and very effective. Let's wrap this video up with the schedule. We will have a couple other live streams. We see one taking place next week, and it's going to talk about custom leagues and competitive events. This is something that I'm looking forward to. I want to see if these custom leagues are, we're able to kind of customize them in a way to where we can play during a live stream, or set up a league for people that are subscribed on YouTube, set up a league for people that support the content that I'm creating, things like that, to give back to you guys. I think this allows us more opportunity for more creative ideas in terms of viewer games and things like that. Also, competitive events are going to be nice to hear more about alongside tournaments. So thank you all for watching this video. I know it was a little bit of a longer video, 20-something minutes, but I appreciate all the support. Hopefully we got a good look at some of these attributes and looked at the top 5 players for each position in MLB The Show 20. Peace out, everybody, and have a great day.